YouTube-bound community, Stray Kids fans, random people on the internet. My name is Giggens, and we are here today to talk about Clay 1 Miroh by Stray Kids, one of my favorite Stray Kids albums. This is in the first part of their trilogy, of the Clay trilogy, followed by Yellowwood and Levanter, a couple albums down the road there. But this is what they call a mini album over in Korea, and this is 8 songs on it. I guess in America you might call it an EP, but they call them mini albums in Korea. And the packaging on these albums is always fantastic because you get like a book, a photo book, you get the CD at the end, you get a poster, there's cards on the inside. The packaging is awesome. So right off the bat, you're in for something really cool to hang on to. And it's a fun way to appreciate physical media, which I'm a sucker for anyway. But anyways, Miroh here, this is a fascinating album because it totally tells the story of continuing their theme from the first couple of albums with I Am You and I Am Who, and I Am Not, figuring out who they are, what they want to do, who they are as people, where they fit in the world, and then coming to terms with that on this album, having a sense of that purpose, a sense of that identity, and then how you move about in this new world. And this whole album is about that, kind of finding your place, fighting to prove who you are, learning from yourself, learning from others, and coming together as a team ultimately at the end. So I love the transition that this album makes. But the first track on here, Entrance, is a really cool, menacing feeling track full of really intense drums, vocal ad-libs taken from all the tracks on the album. A really killer 80s drum beat comes in at one point, which I absolutely adore. But the fact they sample themselves on this song from songs on the rest of this record, I think is really cool. And it kind of gets you really into the mood for what's going to happen next. It's a really fascinating little experiment, an exercise in editing, if you will. I think it's a really cool job on this one. And you get the title track, Miroh. And the Sirens open this song. And you'll hear Sirens a lot through this record. And for me, the Sirens represent constant running. Because when you hear Sirens, a lot of times you might be running from something. There's a presence out to catch you. There's someone to tell you to do something else, to act a certain way, to do something different. When you're trying to figure out who you are in the world, you want to be yourself. And if there's somebody chasing you constantly, you're trying to avoid that. So that's where I get that feeling from this song, and particularly a few other ones as well. But this one in particular, I mean, it cranks it up to 11 on this one. That fast-paced, synth-laden dance pop on this track is unreal. It's an instant earworm. And that chorus is so catchy. The group vocals and unison are fantastic. It's such an effective song because it conveys unity together and fighting with each other, fighting for each other, I should say, for and with each other, to figure out who you are and not letting anything else stop you from that. The world is a hard place, and figuring out your own identity in that world, it's hard to do. But I love the intense raps on this track. I love the vocals that really soar. The edgy music underneath some of the sometimes softer moments vocally just create a wonderful dynamic. It's such a great song. Victory Song, track 3 on here, more Sirens again. This time they are really fighting to prove that they're going to come out on top, individually and as a group. The hypnotic bass that rolls underneath this song is absolutely incredible. Hearing the synth flashes kind of create a grounding through the madness. It's as if they're going through a war with the outside world who's trying to put them down for trying to be themselves. And that moment of confidence that continues to bubble up throughout this track is really empowering. It's a great track. I mean, that the push that they put vocally into this one has so much more confidence and a swagger that's different than anything else on this album. When they say, listen to this, Sinta Gao, like you really feel that, you believe that, you're a part of the moment with them. You hang on to every word on that track. It's just a very moving song. Maze of Memories. This one is a fascinating document of a track too, because it's got a lot of elements of music that you don't normally associate with pop music, because there's a lot of minor chords on this one, but that forlorn piano on this one, the distant drum, the rhythm of this thing is just moody, but it gets you into this zone. And the rappers are absolutely outstanding on this one. This is totally a showcase for the rappers. That feeling of confusion, that feeling of reeling for peace, while constantly pushing forward and never give up. That line they repeat, several times, never give up. And there's also more Sirens too. Felix's rap in English is so articulate. I love how Seungmin sings in English for a bit. Chan also does his moment in English, but having them all together for this sort of like slightly taken aback, taking a moment kind of feel to sort of assess where they are in the situation, I think is a good moment in the storyline of this album so far. But yeah, the rappers on this thing, Changbin and Han, I mean, they just blow you out of the water on this one. Then you get to Boxster, which is one of my favorite Stray Kids songs ever. I just love the mood on this one. It's a bit lighter, which is kind of nice to have a lighter track after that heavier one. But it still continues that feel lyrically of pushing. You know, keep fighting, can't stop me. They repeat those lines. It's about cheering yourself on during hard times, and it's, don't quit till it's over kind of thing, which I think is a fantastic ideology. It's upbeat, it's infectious, it's catchy, it's playful, it's confident. It's just a moment of clarity. It's a moment of realization that, yeah, you can do this, you can get through this. After the confusion of the last track, it's kind of nice to have that breath of fresh air that, yeah, you're going to get through this. Chronosaurus, I mean, what a song. It's cleverly synced up mix of raps and vocals. It creates a world of texture on this one, and that real punchy, articulate drum sound in this one. I'm guessing Chan probably produced this one. I know 3 Rocha produces a lot of this, but whoever produced the drums on this one did a fantastic job. I mean, the chorus plays wonderfully with each member just shining in the chorus, and a Chronosaurus is a time beast, as they call it. So basically, it's fighting time. And that's another theme that pops up occasionally throughout this album. Comes in the next couple of songs more so than on this one, but it's definitely, or more so than the previous tracks, I should say. It's definitely a track that's about realizing that time might not necessarily be on your side, as the Stones put it, and wondering how to get through that. But every member just soars vocally. The reverb placed on some of their vocals is just a delicious earworm of a moment on each time they do that. It's loaded with hooks and dynamics. The range of rock styles, I think, is fantastic. So it shows that they can do it all. They can do pop, they can do dance, they can do rap, they can do rock. Stray Kids who? Expertly crafted pop rock track. And then 19, which is the last song on the album digitally. There's another track after that. But 19... this track is wonderful because it's about growing up, and it's about turning 20, and it's about, entering adulthood, becoming a grown-up. And for a lot of people, when you turn 20, it's a bit jarring because all of a sudden you're this number that's different. When you turn 10, it's like, big deal. Turning 20 is a big deal because you're going to be able to go out to different places soon. You're going to get taken more seriously. You're a grown-up. And the lyrics on this track reflect that, and they reflect wanting time to slow down, because when you're a kid, you want it to speed up so you can be a grown-up, and now that it's here, you're like, oh man, I kind of wanted to slow down a little bit. But I really love how it's a bit of a slow jam on this song, allowing for a really smooth chorus delivery. I love the guitars at the end, how they come weaving in and out. They bend, they break a little bit. It creates this slightly hypnotic, dizzying feeling that can kind of come with the passage of time, where you sit down and think about it, and you're like, a little bit dizzy getting it sort of wrapped in your head. But I just love the introspective moment that this song has. And then the last track on here, Mixtape 4, also known as Broken Compass, from what I could figure out. For me, this one kind of represents a summing up of the album, where a lot of the moments on this track are about togetherness and realizing that if you work together, we can make it through anything. And I love the bit where Chan's singing about being the captain of his crew. I think it's fantastic. He's the leader of Stray Kids. So for him to sing about making sure the rest of his Stray Kids are together, and we're all going to do this, and we're all going to be all right, we're going to figure ourselves out in this world. What a moment of unity. And that's what I love about this group, is that they're so tight, and there's no ego in this group. They're all here together for each other. That's a rare thing. It's a very rare thing. But I just love how they've found the key, and they're looking to continue to figure out where that key goes and where else it will unlock. But so this album came out in March of 2019, hit number 1 in South Korea, obviously, number 13 on the US Heatseekers charts, and number 3 on US World Albums on Billboard, which I think is fantastic. And one more bit that I'll add before we wrap up here. The word Miroh actually does mean maze, but they add an H at the end, which isn't actually there. The H stands for heaven and hell, and the maze that you go through figuring out what's what. and your place in the world. But let's show you the back cover here. And a close-up of the front. And my poster is fantastic because I got Changbin. He's one of my favorite members. One of the fastest rappers in Korea. But for me, Changbin is just super underrated. I think he's hilarious. I think he's a really cool dude. He's extremely talented. They're all extremely talented, but I like Changbin. But the book is wonderful because you get a really great set of photos of the guys and really well done lighting and cool setups and cool clothes. But I just love the aesthetics that they do for this and the different moods that they chose. A very photogenic lot, if you will. And then the CD is tucked in at the end. I don't have the cards anymore. I gave them to my friends because they have a much better collection than I do. And so I let them have it because they've got a much larger collection. But that's it. I just want to say I absolutely love this album. Stray Kids are a fantastic group, and I'm really stoked that I've gotten into them thanks to a couple of my friends. They just have so much to offer, and who knows where they're going to go next. They continue to be better and better and better, and happy to be along for the ride. So for me, Miroh is easily a 9 out of 10. There's not a bad moment on this thing. It's fantastic. It's one of my favorite CDs that they ever put out. So 9 out of 10 from Miroh and Stray Kids. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Giggens. This has been Miroh, Stray Kids, 9 out of 10. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below, and if you want to see more Stray Kids content. But I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care of yourselves. Be well.